In this video, we're going to talk about quadratic substitution. We're going to start out with an equation that's not a quadratic, but we're going to use substitution to create a quadratic and then solve it. We're going to start with this equation, w to the fourth power minus 4w squared minus 2 equals 0. So when you look here, this is not a quadratic because it has a fourth power, not something to the second power. But what we're going to do here, we're going to substitute u for w squared. All right, so u equals w squared. Now if we use that, we're going to rewrite the equation, rewrite the original equation. W to the fourth becomes u squared. U squared is going to be w squared squared, which is w to the fourth. All right, so if we rewrite that, it's going to be u squared minus 4 u minus 2 equals 0. All right, so now it looks like a quadratic. Yeah, something to the second power, u to the second, u to the first, then a constant. Now we can use the quadratic formula. All right, so remember your quadratic formula. It's negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So if we bring back our original formula here that we substituted, remember we have u squared minus 4u minus 2 equals 0. And remember the coefficients are your a, b, and c. So remember a, b, and c. So a is 1, b is negative 4, and c is negative 2. All right, so now we have, so negative b get negative, and b is negative 4, plus or minus square root of b squared, b is negative 4, minus 4 times a is 1, and times c is negative 2. All over 2 times a, 2 times 1. All right, so here we got negative 4, which becomes a positive 4. Plus or minus. All right, so negative 4 squared is 16. We have negative 4 times 1 times negative 2. It gives you a positive 8. Remember, two negatives give you a positive. Negative 4 times negative 2 is positive 8. And just 2 times 1, which is 2. All right, so we can continue from there. So from there, inside the radical, let me rewrite it here. So 4 plus or minus, we had a 16 plus 8 in here, which gives you 24 over 2. All right, if we take a look at 24, 24 is not a perfect square, but you can break it down to 6 times 4, and 6 is 2 times 3. And we know 4 is a perfect square, so can we write that radical as, square root of 4 is 2, so 2 comes out. And what we have left is the 2 times 3, or 6, so 6 stays in, all over 2. Now I can reduce this. The 2 here can go into the 2 here, into the 4 there. 2 goes into 4 2 times. 2 goes into 2 1 time. You don't have to write the 1. So we say 2 plus or minus the square root of 6. Now this is what u is equal to. Now we substituted u for w squared. So w squared is the same as 2 plus or minus the square root of 6. Now we want to find out what w is, which is what we're really trying to find. W will have to be the square root of 2 plus or minus the square root of 6. Because when you have w squared, you want to find w, you have to take the square root of both sides just to get the w. So really, now when you take the square root of something, you also have the plus or minus. You know, let's say if w squared was 4, w could be 2, because 2 times 2 is 4, or w could equal negative 2, because negative 2 times negative 2 is also 4. Alright, so here you really have 4 answers. You got the positive square root of 2 plus the square root of 6, the negative square root of 2 plus the square root of 6, the positive square root of 2 minus square root of 6, and also the negative of the square root of 2 minus the square root of 6. So that's how you solve when you have something to a 4th root, and you can use substitution to change it to a quadratic and solve it.